program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Be advised that the views and opinions of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
You are what you watch.
Hello, good evening. My name is Harriton Wadko. Welcome to our program. I'm sorry I was not able to tape last week due to some technical difficulties. Ladies and gentlemen, let me bring you up to date. As of late, we have the Citizens Council composed of the 5 luminaries, who are not necessarily legal, and they affix their signatures promoting the Bangsamoro Basic Law. Let's stay with that. After all, the fight with Pacquiao is done. Let's go back and talk about the real issues at hand. Now, today as our guest, we have Father Jerry Manlangit, who is an order of the preacher. They calls him OP. He is a professor and he's a bioethicist. Anong po ibig sabihin yan? Well, he dwells on the concepts and the theories, the disciplines of ethics that involve all sorts of things, be it life, society, faith in general, and even the different disciplines, or what we call politics, if we can even call it that. Let me bring you up to date on the politics and the issues that are hitting us right in our face today. You've got 4 or 5% of the people who are Muslim. They're not basically Christian or Catholic. Tayo kasi, Pilipino, alam ko, Roman Catholic tayo. Nakita natin kay Pacquiao, ang buong mundo nanonood sa kanya. Pero kita mo, bago pa siya mag-umpisa, pupunta sa isang kanto, and true to form, miski born again, whatever you wanna call that, mahal pa rin sa Diyos, uupo, he will kneel, and he will pray to God. That's exactly what we are. Whether you or not, or, well, I'm basically a practicing Catholic. I couldn't say if I was left or right or whatever. But predominantly, we're Christian. We're about 90%, if not 94% in the whole country. And yet we have to deal with this new concept of what I call cessation, what I call unconstitutional. But then again, I clarify by saying I, because it seems our president, his administration, and now the group of luminaries, business luminaries, have affixed their signatures into what they call the constitutionality and the correctness of what they call the Bangsamoro Basic Law. But before I bring that in, I'd like to zero in on one of the characters and one of the luminaries of this Citizens Council, which is Cardinal Tagle. Father, welcome to the program. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you very much, Harry, for having me.
And congratulations on your new show. You host the Medical Dilemma, which is very interesting. It's terrific for the Global News Network. You give a different point of view on all the medical issues that confront people. Congratulations on that show.
Thank you.
But I'd like to pick your brains, Father. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Father Manlangit is the parish priest of the parish or the mini basilica, if that's what you call it.
Minor Basilica.
Minor Basilica of Manaog. We all know Manaog. We all go there one time or the other, or have been there, to pay homage and to pray to inside that very church. Father, I'd like to bring you to one of the issues that seem to confuse me. Si Cardinal Tagle, ang thinking ko, which you just corrected me a while ago, I didn't realize, being the cardinal in the Philippines, because I remember Cardinal Sin quite vividly.
Right.
And him taking over, I thought he would be the head of the hierarchy. I get confused with the position of the Catholic Church on many issues. I've had Father Oscar Cruz, who was formerly CBCP, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
I've had Villegas, I think.
right now,
Yeah.
currently.
Currently, yes. Nakakalito lang. Ano ba talaga ang posisyon ng simbahan? Or si Cardinal Tagle ba dapat sundin natin? I get confused na kasi parang ang daming iba-ibang conflicting points of views pagdating sa simbahan.
Well, first of all, in the Philippines, it's Archbishop Sok Villegas who heads the Catholic Church, being the president of the ZBCP. Cardinal Tagle is the Archbishop of Manila. In other words,
Manila lang siya.
only in Manila. Only in Manila.
So, sino yung pinakamataas natin sa simbahan po?
Actually, kung tutuusin, it's Bishop Sok because he's in charge of everything in the Catholic Church, being the ZBZB president.
Pero bishop lang siya, yung isa cardinal.
Right.
Mas mataas ang cardinal, di ba?
Mas mataas when it comes to, well, to the dignity, because as a cardinal, well, he has some close connection with Vatican. As a matter of fact, he can vote.
Yeah, that's even the
The
last Pope, he was there.
Yes.
He was there.
And Sok is not there because he is not a cardinal. Only cardinals can vote for the Pope.
But the cardinal cannot speak on behalf of the faithful of the Filipinos. It is Cardinal Villegas.
Supposed to be. Because he is the president of CBCP. He can only speak.
So yung CBCP, ang pinakamataas,
Pinakamataas.
pagdating sa Pilipinas.
Right. CBCP.
Mm.
Because
And the one who
we have
writes,
jurisdictional authority. The authority of Cardinal Tagle is only in Manila.
only in Manila. And who writes the sermons, or better yet, who dictates to all the dioceses down to Mindanao, all the way to Mindanao?
It's supposed to be
The CBCP.
the CBCP. As a matter of fact, Archbishop Socrates would continuously write communications through the CBCP, he being the president, not Cardinal Tagle.
Not card. So siya talaga ang pinuno.
Right.
Kung siya ang pinuno, that means all the priests, all the monsignors, everybody down the line, they toe the line of the CBCP.
Right, supposed to be. Right.
Yun. Imagine, I'm a Catholic, and all this time I thought the bishops were only under the cardinal. And yet, when the Pope came here, ang cardinal ang katabi niya, hindi si Villegas.
It's because being a cardinal, parang ika nga nandun na siya sa circle of the Pope.
Vatican. And yet, he
Right.
just lives here because he's
Right.
Filipino.
Yes.
He's set here, but
Because his,
he's the inner circle of the Vatican.
because his jurisdiction is Manila, so he stays there.
What happens when the voice of the cardinal differs from that of the collegiate body called the CPCP, which is the case when it comes to many issues, not just as of late, it's the Bangsamoro Basic Law, which has been problematic. What do we do? Because as citizenry or being part of the faithful, hindi ba nakaka-confuse?
Right, but usually naman, whenever the cardinal makes discourses or communication or a message, it is usually applicable to all. Because we are talking about faith, which is not restricted only to a particular jurisdiction. It is also applicable to all. And that is where you will be able to see the unity of the church.
You lost me.
Okay.
The faith restricted to your jurisdiction. So cardinal is only Manila.
Right.
Kumbaga si
Right.
Erap, ang paano ni Erap is only within Manila. When he crosses the border to San Juan or Pasay, hang on, pakinggan natin yung mayor doon.
Because our faith is something universal. It is applicable to all. But when it comes to diocesan discipline, it's Cardinal, it's Cardinal Tagle, who has jurisdiction over the Archdiocese of Manila only.
Only.
He cannot discipline other priests from other dioceses.
But what happens when what he says is in direct conflict with another bishop?
And that is where perhaps sometimes the dilemma or the problem. Because
So
in
we
fact,
do have a dilemma even with our faith.
right.
But how can-
Not really actually faith, because faith is something which is universal and we uphold it. And there is no difference between the faith in Metro Manila or in Mindanao.
It's one.
What probably gives us conflicting ideas or conflicting thoughts are some things which can only be seen on a particular angle, and the other also sees it in a particular angle, but not necessarily about contradicting faith.
But faith and reality, as in our topic today, when you put the two together and there are conflicting points of views, does it not only confuse the flock further?
Well, I would like to agree. Because whenever a cleric speaks, it is always assumed that he speaks in the name of faith.
Correct.
Correct.
Bagay sa simbahan, huwag ka magsisinungaling.
Right.
And you follow the disciplines and the virtues the church and the faith has taught you
Right.
over the years.
Okay. But sometimes, the individuality of the cleric or of the bishop or the cardinal, okay, sees things differently. That is reality.
You're talking interests, when certain interests prevail.
Maybe interest, maybe
I'm
concerns.
talking politics.
Right. Yeah. Maybe interest, maybe concerns, especially political issues.
Especially political issues.
There will be differences. Because our politics here in the Philippines is a very, very partisan politics. From that word alone comes already conflict, partisan. So immediately,
bangga na.
where you are sided with, maybe in conflict with another who is of a different party.
In faith, you're not allowed to have partisanship. We are all together.
Yes.
Sa ilalim ng simbahan.
That is one of the things that we can be proud of.
Uh-uh.
We cannot contradict our faith. Neither can I contradict another faith who belongs to a Catholic religion.
But when someone who is within the same flock is misled and misleads other people, that is wrong. You have to point that out. Uy, you're a sinner. Mali yung ginagawa mo, nagsisinungaling ka, masama ang ginagawa mo para sa taong bayan. Yun, when that is clear, hindi ba dapat sabihan, uy, mali yung ginagawa mo? Kesa ito confuse the people and saying that tama yung ginagawa niya, itong politiko, when we know he's an oligarch, we know he steals money,
Right.
di ba? As binibigyan pa ng komunyon.
Right. One of the realities that we have to accept is the fact that when you speak something against or for a politician, you're speaking political. Whenever that word political, there is already some biases, prejudices, or even sometimes malice.
Okay, Father, we're going to have to take
Right.
a short break. Ladies and gentlemen, I know I'm confusing you. I'm doing it purposely. I am opening up the topic with Father Jerry Manyalang because basically his discipline of study is exactly what it is, ethics, bioethics. Now, what I'm trying to do is bring in the practice of politics the way you and I know it. The problem with politics is when it comes to truth, it's called what we think it is. It's called impressions. It's what media builds up to be the truth. You and I don't know the real truth, and neither does media. In fact, media only helps to confuse the issue of what we call truth. Now, when we come back, we will tackle the concept of, well, the confusion, which is called politics, and the realities. Now, let's not forget the faith. We'll stay with the faith because if one thing that we assume a commonality, a reality, and a majority of all of us is we are Roman Catholic. We'll come right back.